Pushpa and Dr. Arti being here now, we shall bring in the next speaker on a very wonderful subject of everyday practical need, and that is Dr. Bharathi. Can I have her CV, please? She will be speaking on common sense solutions for, everyday diet for reduction of weight. Dr. Bharathi, what can I say about her? She is a master in her subject. We better listen in carefully. She has done extensive research in nutrition and has several publications to her credit. Many students have learned under her and have gone on to, become great nutritionists. I think they are all doing very well under her guidance. She has completed several studies. The one worth mentioning is a multicentric cohort study as a national field coordinator and a collaborator for various cohort studies, randomized trials, and other experimental studies currently underway in India. And we are very proud to have you here, Bharti. You have your share of awards, and you have, done something very great. You are a founder of the Just Right Obesity Clinic. You are a lifestyle coach, and so many times I feel that I should connect you, connect with you for this need of being a lifestyle coach. And you're a weight loss consultant. So the dais is all open for you. We are waiting to hear from you. Please share. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Shobha. It's a pleasure knowing you and meeting you and for you to introducing me to this group. Just give me a minute, please. Is it, can everybody see it?
Yes, yes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Bharathi, and I'm grateful to the Association Indian Menopause Society for giving me an opportunity to talk. It's a pleasure to be talking to esteemed gynecologist, because I've always had the best of interactions among all the doctors actually with gynecologists. I connect most with them. So thank you. So I'll keep it very short, very brief. I know that everybody is in a very celebratory mood, so I'll keep it very short. We'll keep more options open for interaction. So if you have any questions, you can always raise it there. It's a short just seven slides. So I've been given the topic to talk about weight loss solutions through very simple common sense modifications, dietary modifications. And that's exactly what I also preach, and I also try to do as part of my daily service when I'm helping people with weight loss. And I think Dr. Jaideep spoke so well about the challenges of people trying to achieve perfectionism. And I think I see similar challenges even with my clients when they try to achieve something perfect with related to your weight. And I keep telling them that it's more about being very practical, more about making it achievable, and more about making it more realistic. And that's the aim of my today's talk, to show you that there are very simple things that anybody can emulate, at least to start off their process, their journey towards weight loss. So first thing first, if you notice the challenges of menopause, in addition to symptoms, there is a lot of health risk associated with menopause. That's because of a lot of changes in your body, and one primary among them is weight gain. As a nutritionist, we focus on weight. Obviously, where do they stand in terms of their current weight? We work towards diet and physical activity changes to help them achieve changes in the weight. Before I actually go on talking about very simple common sense approaches to weight loss, let me give you a guide on what we use to actually help a client start this journey towards weight loss. Usually, our guidelines are very simple. We create a deficit in calories, and it can vary. For most times, it's between 500 to 750 calories. There are extreme diets that are called as low-calorie diets that create deficit of up to 1,000 to even up to 1,500 calories. And this really depends on the background of the client. I usually, because I mostly deal with women who have challenges either because they have thyroids or PCOS, I work with much simpler weight loss goals. I work towards a 300 to 500 gram weight loss per week, and this is also part of the guidelines. The first aim or the objective is not to look at a lot of weight losses, but to look at very modest weight losses. The reason we work towards that is once they achieve this, or even if they lose the first 500 grams, That is the biggest driver for a client to focus towards the next changes of the weight. So we look at modest weight losses because that becomes more achievable, more realistic, and something that gives them confidence to actually reach that goal. We do not plan a diet without exercise, and it's not just about cardio, creating a deficit through exercise, but also most important about strength training. And we emphasize that quite a bit because we know the benefits of strength training and adding in more lean muscle in the process of weight loss. Nothing, especially weight loss, is complete without motivation. That is the key biggest driver to help a client or any person achieve weight loss, because it's a long journey and they need to be able to sustain this. And motivation is one of the things that holds them for a longer periods to sticking to a certain discipline related to diet or exercise. So what I'm going to present today is not necessarily the real things that a typical dietitian would do, but to just give you some thoughts about what, as my experience as a weight loss consultant, has led me to believe that these are the things that I feel are definitely the most simplest common sense approaches that I would recommend to all people, including doctors and even people who are trying to lose weight. First one, portion control. I know the first thing anybody would talk about is fat or calories or fried foods or desserts. I, on the contrary, first talk about portion control. Not many people realize that it's a very simple, easy tool to incorporate into your daily life. And it begins with very simple things. Start with any one meal in a day. Rather than looking at the whole spectrum of foods that you eat, start with one simple meal. Look at it. Visual inspection is a very good tool to help a person understand where do they stand and how off are they from a realistic or a balanced diet. So as nutritionists, and we use these tools, what is called as the plate method. This is called as a plate method. It simply is the representation of a plate. For more details, it's a 9-inch plate and divided into 4 quarters. The reason we do it is we're trying to simplify the concept of balanced diet, healthy diet in a most simple manner that anybody could be able to easily follow, to make it more easier for an individual to follow. So when they look at the plate, what should they do? They should divide it into 4 quarters. And how do you portion that control, and how do you control the portions in that plate? 1 quarter should have lean protein. If you see on the left side, there's lean protein. There's a difference between protein and lean protein. Lean protein is usually protein that is lesser in fat. 1 quarter should contain your carbs, your grainy foods, your rice, your roti, your chapatis. The other half or 2 quarters should contain vegetables or salads, anything that is low calorie, mostly your vegetables and salads. When you distribute your foods like this, it gives you a very clear idea of how is your balance of your carbs, protein, and other nutrients going to be. And this is one effective way to reduce the calories in a plate within a meal. And if you start that with one meal at home, using the simple technique, very common sense approach, there's a lot of calorie saving you can do. If you just replace your protein, for example, if you're eating chicken and if it's like a fried chicken or a chicken made with a lot of fat or prepared in a manner that tends to have a higher fat portion, replace it with a lean protein. Either it could be, for example, changing from full fat curd to low fat curd, or choosing instead of some kind of a dal fry or into a simple dal, chana preparations, or simple chicken preparations that's made with very minimal oil, you can easily save 50 calories in that one portion. If you reduce your carbs, you can easily save up to 100 calories just by reducing your carbs and replacing it with vegetables. You're easily able to achieve a deficit of 150 calories in that one meal just because you change the portioning of your options in that plate. And if you're able to replicate that 2 times a day, that's you're already made about that 40-50% of journey towards creating a deficit of close to 300 calories. And that's the aim, that you work towards simple, common sense approaches to making these changes in your daily diet. The second thing that I would talk about, I know most people do not talk about this, but I feel it's very important, and research also has shown that tracking your behaviors, tracking your diet, tracking your calories is one of a very good behavior that helps you create awareness of exactly what are you doing with your food habits or with your daily diet. The simplest thing you can do is one, track your calories. All of us have mobile phones. Just download an app and just key in. It takes you not more than 5 minutes. The apps are very friendly. It takes you 5 minutes just to key in your foods that you've eaten every day, to give you a ball figure of really where do you stand in terms of a calorie intake. Are you within 1,500? Are you crossing 2,000? Just to give a ball, a figure so that you know that are you off track? Is your calorie consumption way excess of what ideally you should be consuming? I would also advise people to have a simple chart that you can put on your fridge just to track certain simple behaviors key to calorie management. How often do you eat fruits? Do you consume it every day? Then tick in those columns every day so that at the end of the week you're able to look at it and say, "Oh, I've consumed fruits every day." Or if you've had a fried snack, just tick it. Be honest. Just tick it and see how does it follow in a week. Are you having it 4 times a week? Are you having it maybe once a week? That's good. Can you change that? Can you make it better? Similarly, some kind of foods can be tracked through using these trackers, and that behavior and calorie tracker can go a long way in motivating you towards watching the food that you eat and helping you towards achieving your weight loss goals. The third thing that I as a nutritionist, promote to all my clients is out of sight is out of mind. A lot of people do not realize that the environment within close proximity around you can influence a lot of your eating habits. And we, in our terms, we use what is called as hedonic eating. Hedonic eating is simply a behavior of eating food not to address hunger but pleasure. You're full, but you would still eat the dessert because it makes you feel happy. And that is hedonic eating. It is not really helping you serve a purpose of health, but it is just making you happy. And we know that a lot of these things around us can increase the chances of hedonic eating. We do know that people who are hungry are more likely to indulge in hedonic eating. So we advise people to always address your hunger first and keep full so that you minimize the chances of hedonic eating. But where else would you come across these? Well, look at your house, look at the workspaces, and you will see it all around you, tempting there to indulge in these foods. So go back to your fridges and look at them and see, are there any items in there that actually can increase your chances of indulging in them, which you know is not really safe for you? Chocolates. That's something I think, unlike before, now we always have a box of chocolates at home. There's a relative who comes from abroad, or you're purchasing it, or you feel your kids need it, or your grandchildren need it, and you always keep a box. And those are the small things that you tend to indulge and you do not realize. One small bar, not even a bar, small box, in a bar is about 50 calories. 3 of it is almost equivalent to a meal. So watch what's there in your food and clear it out of sight. Okay. And where you work, your desk food or something that's accessible close to your desk, especially in corporate setups, people give you a lot of indulgence where they have a nice coffee place, maybe not in hospitals, but at least in other setups. You have biscuits, you have a variety of things around you, and that can be easily consumed, and you wouldn't even realize you're unnecessarily consuming excess calories. So be conscious of the food around you, especially around the desk. Have access to more healthy options. Instead of biscuits, if you had a fruit or a few pieces of nuts, instead of a fruit juice, if you actually can choose a herbal tea, that also is low calorie. And of course, go back to your pantry. What are you stocking in your pantry? Just go back and look at it. You'll be surprised the amount of snacks that we store that are tempting us with all that indulgences that that explains your indulgences, your namkeens, your sweets. Go back, clear them. Even if you do need them, keep them in smaller proportions so that you're able to regulate your intake and you don't end up indulging the entire packet. So control your hedonic eating behaviors. That I feel is a very common, simple thing that you can easily inculcate into your daily lives. So I've just focused on these 3 simple, behaviors. I feel You should look at simple modifications, like I suggested. Just replace your biscuits with a fruit, replace a high calorie beverage with a low calorie beverage. Begin with very small changes to motivate you towards changes in your lifestyle. It could be very small things like making sure you eat your breakfast regularly in time, making sure you adhere to on most days to certain meal timings that ensures you're able to control your hunger better. Make sure over a period of time you're able to discipline these behaviors. Don't work on too many things that you're unable to manage. Focus on one or two behaviors that you can put into your daily practice and that becomes your life and it becomes a discipline. Nothing is complete without self motivation. That is the key to everything that we do in our lives, whether it's professionally, food, exercise. So you need to constantly motivate yourself, and whatever would help you keep that motivation high, having buddies to exercise, having somebody at home to guide you with healthier choices. Most of the times, we are the ones doing it for our family, and we ourselves give up on those. So we need to go back and look at that. So I'd like to conclude this by saying that just focus on very simple behaviors. And I would like to end this year by telling that with this talk, I would like to give you all some food for thought, maybe over the, over this 23-24 phase that you're going through. Make sure that your clients, your patients, when you speak about weight and weight losses, there is a lot of empathy. They come there with a lot of challenges. A lot of empathy is required when we're dealing with weight loss. It has to be realistic and achievable. No weight loss, extreme weight loss is sustained in the long run unless they're highly motivated. And it is a constant challenge dealing with your weight. We all are going through it, and so will our clients, constantly dealing with it. So let's hope that this talk will give you some thought about food. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Bharti. That was really, really amazing. And I think you made things so simple and so beautiful. I have a few queries from you while we wait from audience reaction. Do you suggest any?
Bharti, can you stop sharing, please?
Yes, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Just give me a minute.
Yeah, sorry, Nirja, please go.
No problem. Bharti, can you share with us the names of any apps which will calculate the calories of Indian foods? For example, you won't find samosa in most foreign apps. So can you guide us to some apps which we can use to track food?
I find Healthify Me the most convenient one. Yeah. I definitely would recommend that. Don't go by absolute value of the calories because there's a lot of variations between apps and across apps about the caloric value of the same food. But I think it's to gauge, just to give a ball figure idea of, is this a high calorie, low calorie? Is this a good balance of carbs and proteins? That way, I think definitely I would recommend it.
एक समोसे में कितना कैलोरी होता है?
Depends on the size of the samosa, a small one to a large one.
नहीं, जो मिलता है अच्छा वाला
180
जो खाने में मजा आता है.
That's
It
about
can-
180.
It can vary between 200 to up to 350 calories.
300.
Yeah.
So I think let Nirja finish, then I'll ask the question. Yeah.
So the app which you mentioned, I wouldn't like to talk about that because that is actually a program. You have to join that program. It's a program of weight loss. It's not an app where you can calculate calories by yourself. So you don't want people to join that app and pay so much of money for the advice which you have given to us for free. So if you can just share any app, do you know of any app which will help us calculate our calories of Indian foods?
I do use this app, and you need not pay for everybody. Just tracking your diet is free.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to
That's
comment, that
Yes.
the calorie counter in this app is free. So I also use it all the time now.
Oh, good.
Oh,
That's good
great.
endorsement. Very
Yeah.
good. Great.
And
It should not sound like I'm promoting Healthify Me, but just to say that it's
No, no,
we just need an app. That's
yes.
it.
Yeah.
No?
Yes,
But
any
you have
app,
a point.
any
Yeah.
app that has Indian
Okay.
foods.
Yeah.
We are going to self-monitor ourselves.
Yeah.
One query that I have in your plating method, you talked about where did you talk about eating fats? Because see, my feel is that if you don't have fats, in your food. After all, fats are the ones which are going to give you calories. So you are going to burn carbs. And if you have restricted your carbs, you're going to burn fat, protein for your fuel. So you're actually going to become protein and muscle deficient if you do not add fats to your diet. So I need to see how much of fat, because some fats you have to take.
Yeah, let me correct you on that.
Hmm.
Fat need not be as a separate component in your diet. It's already embedded already within foods. We call it
Mm.
invisible fat. For example, your milk and curd has quite a good proportion of fat in it. And because as Indians, most of our meals are prepped, we cook them, we tend to add oil in everything. So it is there. I can't show it separately. But yes, if I had more time, I would like to definitely talk about our cooking processes and how we could actually, deal with fats when we cook, and how to manage it. But it's already there in the foods that we eat, and that's why I did not separately address it.
Mm.
Because I do want to share that with my own salads, for example, I do add 1 teaspoon of olive oil because of the muffas that it contains to my salad always. And my morning coffee is the bulletproof coffee, which is actually a black coffee, instant, whatever we are having, but without milk and sugar. And I add 1 teaspoon of extra virgin coconut oil. I think this is very important to share with people, that sometimes you want to take, because coconut oil, for example, it contains medium chain triglycerides, which are very, very important for brain health. And for people who are aging, they need that to as a prevention against Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So MCTs are very important. So sometimes you may need to add a little fat to that. And one last query which I have is, when you talk about deficit of your diet, 500 to 750 kilocalories, in fact, we also tell all our patients that reduce just 5% of your current weight, whatever it may be, 90 kilograms, 80 kilograms, because that's a good beginning. But when you deficit your calories by 500 to 750 kilocalories, in how much time does a weight loss, modest weight loss of 3 to 5% show?
Percentage will tend to vary on the base weight. So somebody who's 60, they will achieve it within 1.5 months. For somebody who's 90, they may probably take 2 to 3 months to achieve 5% weight loss.
Correct. Yeah.
That is pretty good.
That's
Yeah,
good.
Shobha?
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Bharti, there is one thing which I am always confused with. And that is, when we speak about calories in the food, can I have oh, um, uh, calories in the food? And then we talk about the glycemic index. And then we talk about bioavailability of protein, And I have always felt that um, reducing the LDL levels. Because this year theme of IMS is cardiovascular health, and even my cardiologist has told that I should maintain an LDL level of less than 70 for my age and my plaque burden. So in addition to statins and ecosprin, most menopausal women with risk for cardiovascular health should see to it that their LDL remains low. So I just wanted an input from you on the oil that we should use. You have often told us, that we should not be half liter of oil per month should be the maximum per individual in the family. And I find that my family exceeds that. Nevertheless, I want your expertise on this and your message on this about LDL, how to keep the LDL under check, very specifically.
Wow, what a lovely question.
Thank you.
Uh, One of the most effective ways to reduce LDL is actually weight loss. So if a person is able to achieve weight loss, then a large part of the LDL can be reduced with that itself.
Mm.
The second most effective ways to reduce LDL in your diet alone, even without weight loss, would be to reduce saturated fat. And since as Indians, a large proportion of our oil, but not necessarily true, comes from cooking oil, because we also consume a lot of high fat foods. Oils that tend to have more of MUFA or PUFA would be more preferable. Generally, there's a lot of variations in the oil choices across Indians in the north and Indians in the south. South Indians generally prefer groundnut oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. As you go up north, I would definitely prefer mustard oil. It seems to be a lot healthier than most oils. These oils should be safe. What is unsafe, especially if you want to reduce LDL as a cooking oil, I would definitely put things that are solid. I would definitely put coconut oil in that, although people will argue with me on that. It has a lot of unsaturated fatty acids. In moderation, yes, coconut oil should be okay, but if you want to reduce LDL, then that's something you need to watch out for. Hydrogenated fats like dalda, butter, animal fats definitely needs to be cut down in your diet to less than 10% of your total fat calories in your diet. And a nutritionist should be able to calculate that for you. The third thing I would definitely suggest to people is if they're consuming high carbs, then reducing carbohydrate can have a very good effect in reducing your LDL in the long run. These three definitely I would recommend.
Wonderful. The golden things you have told. My final question, Nirja, you must permit me this. I know we are running out of time. Only one thing. You said that a samosa is 200 calories plus. Let us say it is 220 or 230 calories, an average size samosa. Now, I choose another diet, maybe a bowl of pulao or maybe two rotis with sabji, which also may be the same calorie. So when we are doing calorie counting, isn't the type of food very important? Because only calorie doesn't tell us, how much it will translate into the sugar level or the LDL level or the triglyceride level. So this is what confuses me always. Why is there a hype on calorie? Because the same calorie can have a worse effect when some foods are concerned and vice versa. Yeah. Why is the calorie the primary kind of, gauge for weight loss? Yes.
Yeah. I think just like how fat is hyped, calorie is hyped, but it is the most basic guideline that we use for weight loss. That is the first thing we need to do for weight loss. If you look at diets, you have low carb diets, low fat diets, and now there's a new fad about the high protein diets. So even if you do change the proportion, but as long as the total caloric intake is low, you will achieve weight loss. Second point is, yes, it's not ideal, but when you create a deficit, irrespective of how you create it, you will achieve weight loss. There may be a lot of variations in how you achieve the weight loss. Some will lose a little more, some will lose a little less, if your proportions of carbs, protein, and fat vary. But yes, calorie will still be the primary focus. As nutritionists, which is why we work towards, yes, calorie is important. Next, how do we balance it through carbohydrates, proteins, and fat? And it's a lot of education. That's why we have long programs for weight loss where we try to educate these things. A lot of people do not know that you need to balance out. You cannot eliminate one nutrient completely. You can't completely eliminate fat. Similarly, if you choose only protein for weight loss, that also is not healthy. So we try to promote this concept of eating a balanced diet, and that is why you need to meet us to be able to understand how to distribute it in a meal. I feel the plate method is a good representation of that, of how to distribute your proteins, carbs, and your fiber foods or low calorie foods.
I think that plate method was amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a very excellent takeaway for a lot of us, including me, if we follow that plate method. And Shobha, my feel about your question on samosa and a plate full of food having same calories, samosas have usually potatoes. So
Correct.
I think you should also choose the ingredients. You are very right because potatoes have a very high glycemic index and you don't want your sugars to suddenly
Correct.
fluctuate.
Yeah.
We have a question here from
Yeah.
Rekha Tundal. Shubha, can you
Very,
pick that up?
very, very valid question and very important. And it is, especially as the new year is there tonight and tomorrow, how much of desi ghee is safe? Because I just now ate one Ram Prasad laddu of desi ghee. I'm feeling very bad. Yeah. Okay.
I would categorize ghee under saturated fats. For anybody, it should be under 10% of your total calories.
Okay.
So if your allowance of oil, cooking oil is between around 15 ml per day, assuming that, then you're looking at less than 1 teaspoon or maybe half a teaspoon of 3/4 teaspoon of ghee per day. That
Okay.
will
No,
provided
but will it not?
provided that you're not consuming saturated fat elsewhere.
Correct, correct. Will it not depend, these portions, on the BMI of the person? Like,
On the
in pregnancy, we go for BMI, itna kam, like calories. So this 3/4 will become less for a high BMI person?
Yes, absolutely. Your calories are dependent on the weight of the person. So
Yeah.
if a person is heavier, the allowance of fat, carbs, proteins will also be heavier, even though there's a deficit. We cannot give the same calories that we would give to a person who's much thinner, say 40
Yeah.
kgs.
And those who are in a weight loss program, maybe they cannot use that much of ghee, just a drop. Oh,
Yeah, so usually I recommend this to a lot of people who have the notion that ghee is healthy, and I've stopped fighting the battle. So I say
yeah.
we will fight that another day. But to start off with, can you please just heat a few drops of ghee and just put it on your food just for flavor rather than actually making sure the entire teaspoon of ghee goes into your meal.
Yes.
I work towards realistic goals, so I do not try to fight them and say do not to say no. I just work towards let's rework this and make this more cheaper.
I think there is one concept of food which I have learned from some naturopathy expert in diet in Bangalore only. Bharti, I don't know whether you have come across that group, which says that there should be cooked food, there should be a garnish, and there should be a topping. So what you are saying probably fits into that. Nirja, it looks like we cannot have enough of Bharati. And
Yeah, we will have her again.
yeah,
Yeah, she's too good.
she's
So
too.
maybe we
Yeah.
can now close.
We should close, otherwise people will blame us for taking away their, New Year celebration. So I will sign off and I leave things to Nirja as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bharati. Thank you. Amazing.
We have a comment from Dr. Jaydeep, and she has said for Bharti, beautiful lecture and interaction on diet. Bharti, Nirja, and Shobha, well done. So that's a big pat on our back. We are very grateful.
Thank you so much, Jaydeep ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Dr. Pushpa and Dr. Arti Gupta, it is because of you that this program runs. And thank you to our faculty and our team and all our participants, and a very, very happy new year to all of you. And thank you for Ranjit and his team, Walter Bushnell. They have been so steadfast with us. Yeah, too good.
Thank you,
No?
ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Always the support, ma'am. We are always there to support you out, ma'am. Wishing you a great new year ahead, 2024, ma'am. To all of you, ma'am. Thank you.
You
To
very
the
much.
esteemed delegates also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.